All right, welcome to Good Vibes, a new segment here on HTV. And joining me today, there you see her right here on the set, Miss Debbie Cox Denova. You might remember her from Blast back in the late 90s on HTV. Debbie, good to have you back.
It's good to be back. Thank you for having me, Martin.
And I'm going to love this segment because it's positive. It puts people in the right direction. Mm-hmm. But just recently, you went through COVID.
I did.
Not long ago.
In fact, 17 days ago was the first day, and I'm feeling great. I'm very, very blessed to have gone through a very mild case of it. So one day of fever, flu-like symptoms, and then a week later I lost my taste and smell, which is still gone, but pretty much that's, and being really exhausted. So, but it's been hitting hard everywhere, and people are getting hit hard, really hard.
You always stay positive, and that's why I want to have this segment with Debbie called Good Vibes, because I want to give the audience some pointers, and who better to do it than Debbie. How'd you stay positive? Because when I talked to you a couple of times during that time, you were still very upbeat.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, first of all, it's just a philosophy that I believe in, because I think what's most important in life, whether we're talking about staying healthy or connecting with people, is keeping our frequencies higher. We're all vibrating, right? This desk is vibrating. Mm-hmm. We're all vibrating, and a healthy human vibrates around 62 to 72 megahertz. Okay, so the lower you drop in frequency, the more vulnerable you become to all sorts of things. So cold and virus is about 57 to 60 megahertz. When you drop down to like 42, you're talking about cancer. 25 is death, okay? So just in general, I have a belief in investing into higher frequencies through everything that I do. The relationships that I keep around me, the food that I put in my body, supplements, the things that I listen to, the things that I watch, all of it I manage with intention, because I want to manage my vibration. So even when I get sick, I'm a yes for it, because the worst thing you can do if something bad is happening is also add your resistance to it and play tug of war with it internally. That's when the suffering comes.
You sort of become what you're thinking.
Is
that the thing you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're talking about boosting the immune system, which is a very important conversation right now, a big part of that conversation really is, what are we holding in our mind space? And there's so much right now, there's so much fear and so much stress. And for good reason, it's just a frenzy. A lot of people are driving their immune systems down just by function of being so afraid and so stressed out all the time. So it's really important that we start using the science of metacognition and think about what we're thinking about, and really put intention behind it. Because if we don't put intention, there's something called negativity bias. And negativity bias means that we are wired primally for more negativity. So like, Martin, if you do something on television and you have 100 people say good job, and then one person says that was a really bad job, Martin, your brain will naturally do what?
It will go to the negative.
Yeah, it'll hyper-focus on that one negative comment and disregard the rest. And it's been said that the brain is like Teflon to positive comments and like Velcro for negative. So we're hardwired, and this is for survival, we're hardwired to already be hyper-focusing and more impacted by the negative. So in order for us to raise our vibrations and really be positive people, it's important that we put intention behind the way that we think and what we focus on and what we amplify for ourselves.
Right. And that's very important. Now, speaking of, I guess, frequencies, the Rife units, so what I think it was Rife, called the Rife units, always targeted certain frequencies for different autoimmune functions or cancer.
Yep.
That's sort of what you're talking about.
Absolutely. And there are other technologies too, sound frequency technologies like binaural beats, isochronic tones, solfeggio tones, that will actually help you to vibrate at specific frequencies to match whatever it is that you're trying to produce in yourself, whether it's concentration or relaxation or boosting the immune system. There are so many different frequencies that we can work with, but it's really important just to understand and put intention behind the idea of actually raising those frequencies up, like I said before, so that not only so that you're protected in times like this, but just because in general your quality of life all the way around is better when you do that.
And it is true that you tend to hang around people that sort of think like you do.
You do.
So people who are positive, they want to be around positive people.
Yeah. Yeah.
The naysayers, they all find the naysayers.
Exactly.
But if you want to break out of the negative group, you got to learn how to do that, don't you?
Absolutely. It's all about who you be, right? So people always talk to me about cultivating a good tribe. The number one thing that you need to do in order to cultivate a tribe that's supportive and positive is just be a positive and supportive person, because we vibrate to each other. Like attracts like. People who are negative don't tend to want to hang out with really super positive people, and but vice versa, right? The opposite is true too. So we are attracted to people who are like us.
There you go. So on the next segment, I want people to hang around, because you're going to talk about, with all this COVID going on, that some couples and relationships, they get stressed.
Absolutely.
Now, I know some people at home are probably laughing at this point, because they're talking about us. But we're gonna give them some pointers on how to get past that, won't we?
Absolutely. I mean, we've already got relationship. It's already more difficult enough to have communications with people outside of COVID. So this is adding a layer of stress, and we could definitely talk about that.
There you have it.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to Debbie on the next segment about, if you're at home and you're cooped up and you're wearing the mask and you're putting all the alcohol on, and your partner is getting on your ever-living nerve, how can we help you out? We'll talk about that on the next segment of Good Vibes.